Hey guys, how is it going? And in today's video I will be going over 8 different dividend stocks you can buy and hold forever. These are stocks with really good dividend yields as well as payout ratios, why I think they're such good companies, and personally why I'm going to be holding on to them for, I guess, until retirement. You know, unless any major stuff pops up, these are pretty solid companies just to hold forever. With that being said, I'm going to roll into the first one, which is an extremely popular stock. It's Coca-Cola. You might have saw that coming, you might have not have. But essentially, it's got a really good dividend yield of 3.7% with a payout ratio of 68.7%, which isn't too bad. It's really solid, to be honest. Coca-Cola, they have a really good logistics systems to transport their beverages. They have lots of different beverages, so they're very diversified as a company. And as Warren Buffett says, this stuff is just so good. You know, so many people are addicted to Coca-Cola, and caffeine addiction is a real thing. So I just think that this company is not going anywhere. Even if America goes on even if the world goes on like a healthy swing, I think that the Coca-Cola company is going to be able to offer so many valuable brands to people that are committed customers. That being said, I'll roll right into the next one. The second stock on the list is going to be 3M, which is an industrious company, and they have a dividend yield of 3.86% and a payout ratio of 48.8%. Kind of a good rule of thumb is to make sure that you're investing in companies with payout ratios lower than 70 or 80%, because that still allows the company some money to where they can grow their business. You know, if you have a payout ratio of 90 to 100%, that's basically taking all their profits and giving it to investors. That being said, 3M is just a really solid industrials company. They're super diversified. They have all different products and services that they offer. If I say 3M, then you might think of something very different than what I think of. You know, they make Velcro solutions, reflective stuff, safety equipment, literally so many different things that it's crazy. One thing could go, you know, become obsolete because of the future, like if we just were moving on and something was to become obsolete, and this company would have so many backup plans that it's absolutely insane. Match that with their financial situation that they're in with the payout ratio so low, it's just a really solid company. I personally am invested in 3M. I'm also invested in Coke, which I didn't mention on the last one, but yeah, I don't put these on the list if I don't really don't really have the confidence to say that you should invest in them forever. These are just my personal top go-tos, I guess, if I could put it like that. The third on this list is going to be AT&T, which I also own. AT&T is going to have a dividend yield of 7.1% with a payout ratio of 24%, and that 24% payout ratio is so attractive. The reason their dividend yield is 7% right now is because the stock is down at the moment because of the whole pandemic thing, but I think that this is just the perfect time to pick it up. AT&T is a telecommunication service. I personally have them for my phone. We used to have them for our internet service, and so I know a lot of people that use AT&T, and they've really grown over the years. I know Warren Buffett invested in AT&T as well, so I mean, if you're one of the guys that just follows what he does, then by all means. But AT&T is just a really solid company, and with the way the world's going, I can't see telecommunications getting any smaller. Rolling into the next one on this list, we're actually going to be doing Disney, and Disney does have probably the lowest dividend yield on this list, being 1.5% with a payout ratio of 28%. But I mean, if you look at those numbers, they essentially have such a low dividend because their payout ratio is so low. Disney is probably the least volatile company on this list just because of how many different brands they own. Disney and Coca-Cola are pretty up there together when it comes to volatility. It's very, very low. Disney has so many different brands. I believe they own ABC, Marvel, Star Wars, and many others. They now have a streaming service, Disney Plus. I believe they own Hulu and ESPN Plus as well. So they own quite a bit. I believe I saw a graphic that said they have 65% of the media that people consume in the world. They own the brands that are behind them. So I think that's actually pretty insane. And Disney's just a really solid stock to hold. I think right now is a fair time to buy. Just me personally, I don't think it's an amazing, super attractive time, but I don't think it's a bad time either. I remember last year when Avengers Endgame came out and the stock was super high and Disney Plus was coming out. I think it's kind of died down a little, so I think that if I was going to pick up some shares, I might do it. I personally don't own Disney at the moment, but I do plan on scooping some up in the future. That's just me personally. I think that Disney's a really solid company, and I can't see them going anywhere. Rolling into the next one, we're going to be doing Genuine Parts, which has a dividend yield of 3.6% and a payout ratio of 38.6%. And if you're wondering what Genuine Parts is, it's actually the father company of Napa Auto Parts. The logos are pretty similar. I'll actually put some in right there now. And yeah, basically the reason why this stock is so good other than the financials is because every as time goes on, we're only going to need more parts for machines essentially, because that's kind of the way the world's going. Robotics is getting way bigger, and the world's kind of becoming, shifting more towards that way. And I can't see the stock going down, as well as the fact that their dividend yield is so good for their payout ratio. And I think that's just like another reason that this is a good company. Threw it on the list because I own some of it and it's a pretty solid company. So I thought I might mention it because it might be one of the more low-key companies when it comes to dividend titans and, long-term dividend investments. But I think it's a pretty solid buy if you're looking for, long-term, low volatility, decent dividends. The next two I'm going to talk about together. I'm going to list the financials out real quick, and then I'll talk about the companies together. They're going to be J&J and Procter & Gamble, which are two different companies, but they're kind of similar. So J&J's financials are looking like 2.82% dividend yield and 35.1% payout ratio. You've heard me talk about the dividend yield and the payout ratios in the previous one, so I'm not really going to talk about how it's just like so amazing. But I mean, you get the gist. Decent dividend yield, or pretty solid dividend yield actually, and a really solid payout ratio, with Procter & Gamble having a dividend yield of 2.6 and a payout ratio of 53.8. They do have a little bit higher payout ratio at that 53.8% mark, but that still gives them 47% of their earnings to reinvest into the company and grow as a company. Now, as to why I think these companies are really solid is because you can go into any supermarket or grocery store and basically get any necessities that you need, and there's a given chance that one of them is going to be either Procter & Gamble or Johnson & Johnson. A lot of Johnson & Johnson's like mainline products are like baby products and soaps and stuff like that, toothpaste, consumer discretionaries, as well as Procter & Gamble. They make a lot of deodorant, soap, toothbrushes. I mean, stuff among that like line, you kind of get it. No one's gonna stop using these things. Everyone's gonna have to wash their body, brush their teeth, take care of infants, etc. So I think that these two companies, and it's just like a coincidence that they're both ran extremely well, but I think it's because the fact that they've just had consistent numbers over the long term, because everyone just constantly is buying their products. Like on a weekly basis, everyone probably buys like one or two of their products, and so that just, and it's not because of choice, it's because they kind of have to in order to maintain, basic hygiene. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty good little group right there that I chose. And a lot of people will explain investing for dummies will be like, well, what do you use a lot? That's a company you should invest in. And personally, I've used deodorant every day since I was like, a little kid, and I would hope that you've used soap and shampoo every single day and that you have a current need for this in your life. That being said, I'm going to stop rambling on about like personal hygiene and why I think these companies are so awesome, and I'll be getting into our last one. Now, this is kind of among the lines of the previous stock with the Procter & Gamble and J&J's selling points being, well, you're always using them and all that stuff. But this company is kind of on the same line, except it's a service rather than a product. It's waste management. Waste management's you've probably seen them before. They have the trash trucks that have the WM. I'll put the logo right there right now. But yeah, I mean, essentially everyone's always going to have trash, and even though we're trying to recycle more and like lower the footprint of the environment, I think the company's only going to go up just because it's always a need that everyone's going to have. They're actually, encouraging recycling more now just because they have that implemented into their company to where they can actually, they can actually implement it more and work towards that. And I think that like no one's going to stop using trash. Bill Gates is a huge investor into waste management. It's one of the biggest holdings in his portfolio, and it's just a really solid company. The financials of it are 2.1% dividend yield and a payout ratio of 25.5%. So even though it might not seem like the most lucrative business, I mean, those financials speak for themselves. 25.5% payout ratio, that's so much money to reinvest back into the company and, eventually, build the company. So not only are you getting, a solid dividend, you can expect the company to grow at a decent rate. That being said, that is all 8 of them, and those are just really solid picks of mine that I've chose. I'd be really interested in hearing what your favorite dividend stocks are. Watching so many of these videos, I've probably heard of all of them, but I really want to hear like particular reasons why you would choose certain ones, because I'm looking and making an updated video of this maybe 3 months down the road, and I think it'd be pretty cool to hear your take on, this topic. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, I really do ask that you like it. It takes me a while to come up with these videos, to do all the research on them, to figure out all the financials. And so I guess subscribe for future videos. Like I was saying, I'll do more videos like this if you enjoyed it. Just let me know down below and I'll be sure to cater to whatever you'd like to see. That being said, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a good day.